Imagine being so ridiculously overpowered that you accidentally become a legend while thinking you're just a regular guy practicing sword swings in the woods. What if I told you there's an anime protagonist who's literally too strong for his own good, and he has absolutely no clue? Meet Noor, the guy who makes Saitama look self-aware. This isn't your typical weak-to-strong anime story. This is something far more hilarious and mind-bending. We're talking about a character who thinks he's still a beginner, while casually deflecting attacks that could level mountains. And the best part? Everyone around him is losing their minds trying to figure out how this amateur is rewriting the laws of physics with basic sword techniques. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. Noor spent years training in isolation, perfecting what he believes is just basic swordsmanship. He's convinced he's nowhere near ready to become an adventurer. Meanwhile, his basic training routine involves casually parrying attacks from legendary monsters that most heroes couldn't even survive looking at. The disconnect between his self-perception and reality is so extreme that it creates the most accidentally epic moments in anime history. Picture this. He walks into his first real battle thinking he might embarrass himself, and instead, he accidentally creates a new fighting technique that masters have been trying to develop for centuries. The enemy's ultimate attack? Parried with the equivalent of a casual backhand? Ancient curses that have plagued kingdoms for generations? Deflected like they're annoying flies? But wait, it gets even more ridiculous. The genius of I Parry Everything lies in its complete subversion of the power fantasy genre. Most overpowered protagonists either hide their strength deliberately or gradually realize their potential. Noor genuinely believes he's weak. When people call him incredible, he thinks they're being sarcastic. When legendary warriors bow to him in respect, he assumes they're mocking his technique. This creates comedy gold on multiple levels. First, there's the visual humor of watching this beginner perform impossible feats while maintaining a completely serious expression. Second, there's the dramatic irony of the audience knowing something the protagonist doesn't. Third, and most brilliantly, there's the psychological comedy of watching other characters lose their sanity, trying to understand what they're witnessing. The anime turns every typical shonen trope on its head. Training montages? Noor's been doing them for years without realizing he surpassed human limits long ago. Power reveals? The audience sees his strength immediately, but he never does. Mentors? Every master he meets realizes they have nothing to teach him, while he desperately begs for basic lessons. And here's where the storytelling becomes absolutely brilliant. The show doesn't just rely on the comedy of misunderstanding. It builds genuine emotional stakes around Noor's journey of self-discovery. His greatest enemy isn't some demon lord or evil empire. It's his own lack of confidence. Every battle becomes a metaphor for imposter syndrome taken to supernatural extremes. The supporting characters aren't just there for reaction shots. They each represent different aspects of ambition, recognition, and growth. Some are inspired by Noor's unconscious mastery, others are threatened by it, and a few are desperately trying to understand the secret behind his power. The irony? There is no secret, just pure, unfiltered dedication that transcended normal limitations without him noticing. But the real kicker comes when you realize this anime is secretly a masterclass in how self-doubt can blind us to our own abilities. Noor's story resonates because we've all felt like frauds at some point. We've all wondered if we're actually good at anything, if our successes are just luck, if everyone else can see our incompetence. The difference is that Noor's self-doubt has reached such mythical proportions that he can't recognize his own legendary status. The show asks profound questions disguised as comedy. What does it mean to be strong? Is confidence necessary for greatness? Can someone be a hero without wanting to be one? Is mastery possible without self-awareness? These themes elevate what could have been simple gag comedy into something genuinely thought-provoking. Every episode becomes a meditation on the gap between perception and reality. Noor sees failure where others see perfection. He sees weakness where others see godlike power. He sees inadequacy where others see inspiration. The anime suggests that perhaps the greatest strength is the humility to keep growing, even when you've already transcended every possible limit. The supporting cast adds layers of complexity to this dynamic. Each character represents a different relationship with power and recognition. There's the princess who sees through his facade of normalcy. the knight who wants to understand his techniques, the monsters who spread legends about the Parry Master without Noor ever hearing about it. Every interaction creates new opportunities for comedy and character development. The world building is equally clever. The anime establishes a power system where technique matters more than raw strength, making Noor's mastery feel earned rather than arbitrary. His ability to parry everything isn't magic. It's the result of perfect timing, spatial awareness, and muscle memory developed through obsessive practice. The show respects its own logic while pushing it to absurd extremes. What makes I Parry Everything truly special is how it balances its central joke with genuine character growth. Yes, the comedy of Noor's obliviousness is hilarious, but the show also explores the loneliness of his isolated training, the pressure of others' expectations, and his sincere desire to help people despite feeling inadequate. The anime proves that you don't need grimdark themes or shocking plot twists to create compelling storytelling. Sometimes, the most powerful narrative device is simply taking a familiar concept and examining it from a completely unexpected angle. So here's the real question that will keep you watching. In a world full of people desperately seeking power and recognition, what happens when the strongest person alive genuinely doesn't want either? And more importantly, when will Noor finally realize that he stopped being human a long time ago? The answer might surprise you, but you'll have to watch to find out.